Well, welcome everyone to the On Purpose show, where we unite compassionate healthcare providers and also empower the community to find the precise healthcare options they need for the best possible outcomes. Thank you all so much for being here. It's wonderful to see you all. And
This is awesome.
this is my
I am
co-host,
so excited to be
Martha.
back. Can you tell my energy is like through the roof, Alyssa? I'm like, yes, we're back. It's been a while. We're in episode 7 of the podcast, and I'm so excited, clearly.
Well, thank you so much for bringing your energy, Martha. And also seems like you might be in the Christmas spirit a little too.
Yes, of course. Of course I am. I am, again, just so happy to be here. We haven't done it in about over a month, I would say, maybe even 2 months. And I look forward to these so much because of how much I get to learn from incredible people in the community and in Washington. Fun fact, I am a Jersey girl, born and raised. Well, I'm on the opposite side of the country. And so there's a little intro to begin with. And I'm just super excited to be here. Of course, I co-host this with Alyssa, and you're watching the On Purpose show. So I would love to begin all of this by introducing each and every one of you. If that's so cool. Does that sound cool, Alyssa?
Absolutely, Martha. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. So let's begin. And before I actually introduce, I would love to set the tone by sharing a quick fun fact about me. And of course, I'm going to ask each and every one of you for a fun fact after I introduce yourself. So a fun fact, and I've been thinking about this. Obviously, you know that, Alyssa, I have a hard time thinking of fun facts, but I finally found one. My fun fact is that after putting together an entire family trip of 20 family members to El Salvador, I was able to find my long lost cousin on Facebook and convince him to make a trip to El Salvador 4 days before we all arrived.
No way.
I've never met him. I never had a conversation with him, ever. And I somehow reached out to him, bombarded him with messages, showed him pictures, and said, come out to El Salvador, and he sure did. So that is my fun fact. Wild, crazy, and just so
That's
special.
amazing. I love that. That is absolutely beautiful.
Yes.
And how was your trip?
Oh, it was incredible. So you already know. I filmed everything. So it was really, really, really remarkable. And I'm so grateful we had that. But that is my fun fact. And I would love to begin with Tina Huang coming from Seattle, Washington. Is that right, Tina? Awesome. Seattle in the house. Dr. Tina Huang, PhD in neuroscience, is a holistic brain health practitioner at tryholisticbrainhealth.com, dedicated to identifying root causes of mental and cognitive disorders. With training from the University of Rochester, Tufts University, and Johns Hopkins, she employs subtle yet powerful approaches to support clients' mind, brain, body, and spirit. Dr. Tina actively shares her expertise through talks and interviews locally and online. Tina, welcome to the On Purpose show. What is a fun fact that you would like to share with the group?
Thank you for asking, and thank you for having me here. My fun fact is that side part of my business is Lifelong Everpur, where I help create delicious relationships between felines and their families.
Really?
Super fun. I love that, like, the little kitty cats will come right up to me, after like one session, they know what I'm doing, and they'll come right up to me and sit right next to me and just lie down and wait for their session. It's awesome. I love it.
So are you like the cat whisperer?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I need to come talk to you about that then.
Okay, sounds good.
That is quite awesome. That is quite awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Tina. Next, we have Stephanie Peterson. Welcome back, Stephanie, coming from Rainier. Is that right? Rainier, yes. Jersey girl got it. Stephanie is a health coach specializing in guiding individuals with chronic musculoskeletal.
That's a big word.
Yes. and joint pain, as well as conditions like diabetes, cardiovascular disease, allergies, and autoimmune issues. Her mission is to simplify the overwhelming information on healthy living, offering tailored advice on diet, supplements, herbs, exercise, sleep, and stress management. Stephanie supports her clients by facilitating small yet lasting habits changes that lead them toward achieving their health goals. Welcome, Stephanie. What is a fun fact about yourself?
Over the summer, I also got I've got a master's in nutrition and herbal medicine, and over the summer I got certified as a hypnotherapist to help people work with overcome the issues behind self-sabotage. So that's been a very exciting thing that's helping a lot. So
That's incredible. I did not know that. Well, congratulations.
thanks.
That is quite incredible. Thank you so much for sharing that, Stephanie. And now we have Dr. David Fell coming from Yelm, Washington. Dr. Fell, a licensed physician in Washington and an Iraq war veteran, overcame personal health challenges, including diabetes and a heart attack, inspiring him to pursue a career in naturopathic medicine. Graduating from Bastyr University, he offers a holistic and integrative approach, combining conventional and alternative modalities to address a wide range of family medical needs. Dr. Fell base is committed to providing hope and a path toward wholeness for patients of all ages through in-person and telemedicine appointments. Welcome, Dr. Fell. What is a fun fact about yourself?
Oh, fun fact. I've never been known for fun, so it's
Oh, come on.
I really like science fiction. How about that? I'm a big fan of science fiction genre of either written or movies or whatever. So I really enjoy expanding the mind and exploring what could be in the form of fiction and how that might apply to our lives here. And it really has. Science fiction has led to a lot of innovation with these ideas that were kind of before their time that put seeds in people's minds of what could be done. And so I'm looking forward to the future day where we are all healthy and happy and the aliens aren't attacking. But until that happens, the aliens haven't attacked yet, so just hang on. No, but yeah, that's yeah, that's I don't know. That's a sort of a quirky fact about myself. Is I like science fiction and fiction and in history and reading. I like reading. I like to read. Boring guy, I know.
No, I had no idea about the science fiction, that you're a science fiction fan. So
Oh
that's
yeah.
amazing. Thanks for sharing that.
That's amazing. Yes. Thank you for sharing that. And that's why it's so important to share fun facts, because look at that. Alyssa's known you for a while and now she knows that.
Yeah.
So
I do.
that is super awesome. And last but not least, it is 2014 and she weighs just 93 pounds and can hardly get out of bed. With no real solutions from doctors, one thing for sure was her determination to not give up and to begin searching for answers. Her discovery of functional medicine became a passion for helping others avoid and eliminate pain. In 2016, she completed functional nutrition school and 2 years later started her health coaching business. A year later, she watched her father go from being very active and fit to sedentary with major muscle atrophy from debilitating sciatic pain. She was introduced to soft wave therapy, an exciting breakthrough option in the field of regenerative medicine. After becoming a certified soft wave technician and treating her father, he was pain-free. And since then, many others have had similar outcomes and have said that they have gotten their lives back. And this is our host, Alyssa Hargan. Alyssa, what is a fun fact about you?
Thank you so much, Martha. Oh, okay. So Tina, since you were the cat whisperer, a fun fact about me is that I have a cat that when anyone sees him, they're like, oh my goodness, your cat is huge. And then I tell them, oh, he's a Maine Coon. And they go, oh, he's a small Maine Coon. So it suddenly goes from, oh, you have this huge cat to, oh, he's really small. That is my fun fact.
That's funny.
I love it.
Oh my gosh. Actually, Alyssa, I just Googled Maine Coon. Yeah, they're pretty big. That's fun.
Yes.
That is
yeah.
super fun.
Yeah, he's about 14 pounds, which most Maine Coons are, around 20-ish pounds. So yeah, he's on the smaller side.
Wow.
But
Wow, wow, wow. Well, that is a super fun fact. And thank you everyone for being here again.
yes,
I would love to get it started. What do you think?
let's do it. All right. Dr. Tina, let's start with you. I would love to know what got you into, well, first of all, what interested you in the whole health field? Obviously, you have a lot of education with your PhD, but specifically going into brain health, where did this all start for you?
Well, back when I was in high school, I was very interested in the brain, but it wasn't like the decade of the brain started in the 90s, and high school was back in the 80s. I didn't even know about the field of neuroscience. I don't think very many schools taught it back then, but I was fascinated by books that talked about the brain. Specifically, I was most fascinated by multiple personality disorder. I kept going, well, what's causing that? How are people having several personalities all in one brain that doesn't, how can they switch from, it was just like, it was mind-boggling. And it's still something that I'm really fascinated by. I don't think it's it's something I'd love to study, or wanted to study back then in grad school, but that was nowhere, there just wasn't a high enough population to look at that. And there was other things that they were much more interested in. So I studied Alzheimer's instead. I like challenges, and Alzheimer's was a huge challenge back then. So, but yeah, that's how I started. And it really was the decade of the brain where they started to publish a lot more findings in it. And I saw the Scientific American that had all these great articles on the brain. I was just like, oh, I need to learn more about this. And this was my last semester of college where I was like, oh my goodness, I'm in the wrong field, because I was in computer science. And I took they didn't have a neuroscience program there, but they had a like a psychobiology class. And so I took a psychobiology class. It was more on the sensory systems and so forth. And I was like, well, it's not, I'm much more interested in disease, but at least it was interesting. A bit interesting. And I was like, I think I need more of this. And then when they had a decade of the brain, I was like, oh God, I was in the wrong field. I need to go and get a degree in neuroscience. And then when I was in neuroscience, I realized that I didn't love lab work. I love animals, and I just don't like doing the things that we had to do to animals. And I didn't like chemicals, and I didn't like, and I learned somebody had passed on a flyer and showed that there was this program in public health. And I didn't know about public health, but they described epidemiology to me, which is the study of disease across populations. We now are familiar with it to some degree because of COVID, but I was like, oh my goodness, this sounds really interesting. And it's all about discovering root causes of what our problems are. And so I decided, okay, I was pretty close to finishing up my PhD. So I was like, okay, I got to finish that. My advisor suggested that I do that. And then I tried to I did postdoc in psychiatric and nutritional epidemiology. And I really felt like that was a great fit. I ended up leaving the field because I ended up, unfortunately, in some labs that were not conducive to my productivity, and had some experience with narcissists that can really interfere with your ability to thrive. So I ended up becoming a healer because of my own pain. And I had a lot of lifelong depression and anxiety, learning disabilities. And I'm the kind of person that would go to a doctor and the doctor would say, there's nothing wrong with you, when I knew well that there has been. And I've just not fit into the mold of what traditional doctors know about. They don't have the experience or the they didn't study. I mean, back then they hadn't studied nutrition, and a lot of them still haven't. So there was a lot of things that they, I'd have symptoms and they would like, that's not an issue. And I'm like, no, it's pretty debilitating. It's an issue, or they would infer that I was crazy, or that, if they can't see it in the test, then I don't have it, and I still get that because more recently I've struggled with mold toxicity. And that's a big one that a lot of practitioners, Western practitioners, don't believe. And I've gotten a lot of referrals to psychiatric visits, even though everybody else thinks I'm sane. So, but Western doctors, traditional Western doctors, don't believe me. And it's tragic because I know that, like with the whole mold toxicity population, I'm in touch with a lot of people from Facebook, and we have weird symptoms. And mold does that to you, and it doesn't mean it's not happening. So I'm really passionate about addressing root causes. And when I found that there was a way to use applied kinesiology to get at root causes, I was just so excited. I was like, oh my God, I don't have to like spend, decades in the lab trying to get at one root cause. I could actually get it directly in people. And I was like, sign me up. I've got to learn about this. And so I've been doing that for about 11 years now.
Wow.
And just love it. I really love helping clients get to the root cause of the problems that they're struggling with. And it's been just so transformative. And then I use energy medicine to help people release the problems. So, but more recently, because, and I was really confident. I have energy medicine techniques, like I actually channel frequencies, and I work with spirit guides to do all kinds of things like change DNA as well. And there's a limit to how much DNA it can change, but I can do quite a bit. It's pretty amazing. And so I was like, I was really confident. I was like, I have really powerful methods. I can do anything. And maybe too confident, because that's when I got severe exposure to severe mold and toxins all at once, and a lot of trauma because I had to escape my homes, 2 homes in 2022. And then was going from Airbnb to Airbnb because I couldn't live in my home safely. And it was just really horrific and tragic. And I lost my cat with this. So I had an incredible amount of stress about like, how am I going to move back home, as well as nonstop symptoms for 12 to 18 hours a day, and sometimes just 24 hours a day, and crazy symptoms. I realized that I needed stem cells. I finally realized that, the reason why I'm not progressing in the way that I need to progress is because I'm at that age, 55, where the ability to make stem cells is not working as well. And I was doing research on how to find, healthy stem cells, or how to make healthy stem cells. And I also realized that, I've got Alzheimer's clients, so, one that that just had an incredible amount of success, and another one that was really struggling, and I'm like, why, what's that differentiator? And it's like, stem cells, one can make stem cells and the other can't. And so I was on a search to look for effective ways to generate stem cells. And then I found this company that makes these patches, and we are, I've just been really stunned by what it can do. But we've got stories of people who are, in full-blown Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease and wearing a patch, and within 24 hours, and sometimes immediately, showing immediate differences that are significant, like huge differences in their ability to communicate or stay present in the moment or calm down or get rid of their tremor, or, it's just amazing to me. And neuropathies going away, and migraines going away. All these things that are perceived as impossible are being addressed very, very swiftly and very, very quickly. Scoliosis changing, and recovery from injury changing really fast. It's just phenomenal. People are aging younger, and 70-year-olds are looking like 40-year-olds. It's phenomenal. So I'm super excited about what this company has to offer. I can't tell you who it is right now, because if I can either talk about the company and then stay compliant and not talk about the benefits in a way that really tells you what's going on, or I can tell you all the benefits and ask you to contact me to know who the company is. And I've decided to go with that latter so that I can really talk about the amazing aspect about these patches, or the amazing stories with these patches. So that's what I'm doing. I'm really excited about the patches, but I'm also loving working with people to help them get at the root causes of their brain health challenges and more.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And I just want to commend you for being so determined. Obviously, you know, many of us have the reason that we've gotten into certain things that we do is because of our own challenges. And, you know, that's my story. And I just love that about you, that you've used your own pain to go to purpose and, you know, be able to use that in helping others as well. So, you know, just way to
Thank
go
you.
from,
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah, of
Yeah, I
course.
mean, I had sick building syndrome and I couldn't even use my computer or phone safely. I mean, I was just severely limited and debilitated and reacting to everything. So I can definitely relate to clients or people who are going through this horrific trauma of mold toxicity, and really want to help people who also face narcissism and, you know, difficult personalities, because I've been through that and I used to teach people about how to handle them, but also was able to really address my trauma with the mold very swiftly, and can really help with that as well. So I'm very committed to helping people who've been through a lot of trauma, because I've just been through,
Yeah,
I've been through the ringer myself. I know what it's like. So
for sure. Yeah. And, you know, that's some of the best practitioners out there are those who have gone through it and they know what it's like. And so, like you said, you're committed to helping people find solutions and get to the root cause of that. So I'm
yeah,
really grateful for what you're doing. And, you know, I just want to, confirm and attest to what you're doing with the patches, because that's something that and that's actually how you and I met, was through these patches that I've seen radical transformations in some of my clients that started using them. And I mean, I was, you know, I'm the type of person that's like really skeptical about miracle claims, and, you know, like how could a patch like really do all this? But when you understand the science behind it, and, you know, these are created by incredibly intelligent, you know, scientists, and there's, I believe, I want to say like 99 global patents, which, you know, a global patent is hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, you know, there's legitimate science behind these patches that I've just been blown away with. So just
yeah, I think we're up to 130.
really,
I think so. Yeah.
oh my
So
goodness.
yeah, it keeps growing, and the inventor is just a genius. But I know, you know, my research was in Alzheimer's disease, so I'm very familiar with neurodegenerative diseases, and the fact that there are people, and it doesn't mean that it's going to happen to everybody, but the fact that like the light can literally go back on just with a patch is mind blowing. Like I was like, no, you got to be kidding me. And then I kept seeing others, you know, like I'm like, what? You know, like this is happening over and over again with people with Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. Like it's absolutely stunning.
Absolutely.
The
Well,
inventor is a genius beyond imagination, and I call him the Einstein of energy medicine, but he's decades ahead of his time and ahead of everybody else. And with pain as well, it's just like unbelievable. He's figured it out.
yes.
It's so
Yeah.
easy and affordable. It's amazing.
It really is. Yep. And yeah, I'm super grateful that we have access to these things that, like you said, are affordable. So thank you so much for sharing all that. I appreciate you,
Thank
Tina,
you.
and what you're doing in the world. And, you know, I'll have a follow-up question for you, but I'm going to ask a few questions first of Dr. Fell and Stephanie, and then, you know, we'll come back to you in a minute here. But Dr. Fell, I just kind of wanted to ask you the same thing, like what got you into becoming a naturopathic doctor?
Well, when I was young, I thought about going into medicine, but I'm visually impaired. I have dyslexia, and I had other interests too. And so I became an Army chaplain. I went to graduate school and seminary. And it was during that time I got injured in Iraq, and my health went downhill really, really bad. I ended up with diabetes, hypertension, a lung disease called bronchiolitis obliterans. And then 10 years ago, on December 23rd, coming up, I had a heart attack. And I was eating, at the time, I was eating a very strict low carb diet, trying to get my diabetes under control. And I was like, well, I mean, I've been doing this, and I was my undergraduate's in biology. I did some advanced studies in biology, an honors program where I had to do research, and so I understood meticulousness in taking details, and I was that way with doing the low carb diet. I was really disappointed when I had a heart attack. Woke up that Monday morning. And, but I was grateful for Western medicine at that time. That may have saved more of my heart muscle in their intervention. And who knows? But all they did is left me with a total of 14 different medications for my lungs, my heart, hypertension, blood clotting, all the different things you can think of. And I'm like, and I just felt awful. I mean, I really felt awful. I could barely walk a flight of stairs. Life really was horrible, just miserable. And I decided to start reading in a different direction. I'm like, look, going this way really didn't get me where I needed to go. And so I adopted a plant-based way of eating and started to see improvements very quickly. I got off my insulin. I didn't need it within days. And I was eating more carbohydrates than I had been before. And I got off my insulin. And then I got off all my medications within a month. My blood pressure normalized. My lipid levels normalized. Everything got into, except one form of cholesterol didn't normalize, and it's a genetic thing. It's called lipoprotein little a. Yep, they actually call it lipoprotein little a in their naming. And that is a genetic thing, and mine is extremely elevated, which explains in part why I had a heart attack at a younger age. But maximizing all of those things, I decided to, and I got healthy. I was able to start exercising again. I got limitations because of my lungs, but I was able to do to my capacity and push myself to my limits. And I got healthy again. And I'm like, well, I've got a new lease on life. Do I want to just sit around? And I already watched everything that was on Netflix at the time. I mean, and it's like, what do I do now? And so I said, what about medical school? And what direction do I want to go? How do I mean, what does modern medicine really do to help people get healthy, reverse disease? What does it do for that? And I was like, doesn't do very much. I mean, there are some MDs and DOs who do, but they're utilizing other resources and tools of which they didn't learn about in medical school. I'm not even talking about, I'm talking about basic nutrition, real food. And so I started to read and go down that road and put my research skills into that direction. I said, a naturopathic physician's a way to go. I'm a licensed, I can prescribe and unprescribe. I can deal with medications that patients are on and manage that. And some patients who come to me aren't ready for change. And I'm like, well, okay, well then here's this list of 4 medications we need to put you on if you're not, ready to change. And no, I won't condemn them for that, or herbs or supplements, but they can get expensive. Doing, herbs to treat the same things every month is going to cost you $100, $150. Or if you have insurance or even just good RX coupons, it might cost you $30 or $40. So, in finding that people can heal, the body wants to heal. The body is trying to heal. And what we need to do is get out of the body's way and give it the resources it needs to build. And so that's what went on my journey to discover is the best of Western medicine that has to offer, because it does have some things to offer and it does provide some benefits, especially if people are maybe so far gone that they're still going to need some medicine because their body is too far to heal itself. Very rarely. I haven't come across it yet, but I'm sure it's out there. And how do I do that? How do I help motivate people and steer them in that direction and educate them? So putting my experience together, I taught high school at the School of Health Professions in Dallas. I taught pathology and anatomy and physiology and an AP biology course. we at that level we used electron microscopes and did electrophoresis and with these high school kids. It was great. And so I put my science background, my education background, my educator background, and put that into going to medical school at an older age than most of the kids that were there. And they couldn't keep up with me, and I'm like, I've had a heart attack, I got a lung disease, you guys, I don't know what's going on here. How can I help? And I went through that grueling experience of medical school. And one of the another reason I didn't choose to go conventional is, number one, the amount of nutrition I would have learned is nothing. I wouldn't have learned any physical medicine like body adjustments and using, chiropractic type adjustments. I wouldn't have learned any of that. I wouldn't have learned the foundation and principles. The foundation of health is emphasized all through the training and in my practice. I wouldn't have learned that. And I would have to spend 3 years in a residency practicing, assembly line type medicine, in and out, manage their symptoms. What are their side effects? Change the dosing. You're done. I couldn't do that. I couldn't live that way. So I stepped out on my own and went that way with as a licensed naturopathic physician. I don't regret it at all. Being able to make a real impact in people's lives, to see autoimmune diseases go into remission, or maybe they're gone for good now. I don't know. Years will tell with the patient. But to see that happen with kids, I have multiple kids in my practice who have severe autoimmune conditions like psoriatic arthritis, Crohn's disease, psoriasis. And to see them go and thrive, and to see their wounds heal where they weren't healing without using the biologics, is so rewarding.
I bet. Yeah. And to give them, like you said, that ability to thrive without being dependent on medications,
Yeah.
have so many side effects.
I ask when I'm asking my adults in there, I said, what is health? How would you describe health? And almost everybody has a description of health that includes not just absence of disease.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's what we want in one way, but there's so many things pulling us in other directions. Some of it's our biology is pulling us in other directions. Definitely our culture is pulling us in other directions, and our living environment, access to resources, or just lack of knowledge and information. Thinking eating healthy is so expensive when it doesn't have to be. It does not have to be super expensive to eat healthy. And just helping people come to that realization, and using the Western medicine diagnostic tests and procedures and things to help people get better. But so often, even when I do that, I do the workup, and it's the solution still the same. Let's get you eating a real healthy diet that would be healthy for you, and supplement with these herbs and things, maybe for a short time, maybe for a longer time, that help fill in some of those gaps with some herbs and supplements. My goal is to have people need nothing other than what they can gather from nature, except for maybe a little vitamin B12 and vitamin D, which we can't seem to get from nature too well anymore.
That's amazing. And I love that, you as well, took your own health journey and turned it into something that's, serving those around you and the community. It's just a testament to all of you with your, determination to not only get to the root cause of your own issues, but also to give back, from what you've had to go through is just incredible. Obviously, Tina, you've had some major health challenges, and Dr. Fell as well. And I'm just blown away by your determination. So thank you for what you're doing. And it's really exciting to have people as not only intelligent, but compassionate, and, just that you have huge hearts.
Yeah, thanks for giving us the opportunity to share part of our story. And I love the name of the podcast, Purpose, on being on purpose, right? And my goal, my hope is that people can hear and be encouraged that maybe the spark of hope, maybe I can get healthy, maybe my body can recover. And it's starting with that little spark of hope to stir us on to pursue more.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing all that. Stephanie, thank you again for being here.
Yeah.
As I already know a little bit about you, but I would love for our community that's going to be, hearing this to learn about you and how you got to being not only a healthy lifestyle coach, but massage therapist and all the things that you're doing with those to help people thrive as well.
So 35 years ago or so, I read Clan of the Cave Bear, which is a story set back in Paleolithic times. And I was so taken with the descriptions of the plant gathering and the herbal medicine and everything. I dropped out of engineering school and started hiking and learning all the wild plants and how to use them as food and medicine. Over the years, I've studied with various herbalists, and I went to massage school, as you mentioned, read every healthy diet book I could get my hands on. And then I finally went back to college to study biology and chemistry and got master's degrees in herbal medicine and holistic nutrition while I was working as a teacher at a massage school, teaching anatomy and pathology and massage. And I am kind of a research nerd. I just love diving into all the scientific research on exercise and fasting and detoxifying and stress resilience and sleep hygiene and earthing. And I mean, I love,
Yeah.
I've healed myself with these kinds of changes and felt so empowered by it and much better than I ever did as a kid. Had a lot of minor health issues most of my life. I mean, nothing that a doctor can really help with.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, so I didn't end up on a dozen drugs.
Yeah.
And it's so empowering. And so my passion really is to empower other people to improve their health with things that we can all do on our own, changing our diet, changing our lifestyle. And that passion has not waned for all these years. And so adding the hypnosis has been, I'm really excited about this. It's helping people to give up the quote unquote bad habits that are often more emotional coping mechanisms for that aren't really serving us anymore. So that's been really cool. And yeah, I love all this stuff. And it's so exciting to meet other people to send my clients to when they're looking for something to deal with a specific issue that's would be faster than just slowly waiting for diet and lifestyle changes to take effect. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, can you talk a little bit more about like what it is actually that, obviously we know you're a massage therapist and we know you're a health coach, but what does that look like, on a day to day, when you're seeing clients?
So, I mean, I can see people via Zoom at a distance. My favorite clients are local because I like to go out to people's homes and help them go through their kitchen cupboards and throw out the stuff they shouldn't be eating anymore and what to restock with, help them shop if they need that, help them set up a bedroom that will actually get better sleep, that kind of thing. So the hands-on part, I really love that. And what else? We talk about all of those different aspects of health and how to slowly make changes that are something you will stick to, because it's all great and fine to do something for a week or two, but if you drop it, you're not going to get the long-term effects of that. So
Consistency.
yeah, exactly. Helping people make bite-sized changes that they will actually stick to, and how to figure out what that change would be and how to measure it, because oftentimes when you start feeling better, you forget what you used to feel like. And so people
Absolutely.
need help with that, realizing how far they've come and to keep trying and not give up. And
Right.
so, and then massage, I do just massage for some people, and it's part of the coaching as well. Massage really is not the word for what I do. It's more like a deep dive into very specific issues. So
Yeah. It's much more clinical. I've had the privilege of experiencing Stephanie's, and it's not, this hour, relaxation massage. She's helping you overcome whatever issue is going on. And there's a lot of stretching involved and, deep.
Yeah, and that's my approach to all of it, to the nutrition. I mean, is tailoring it to what's going on with the person and finding the best diet that works for them, because there is no one diet that's perfect for everybody. Everyone needs to tweak it and adjust it for themselves. So
Absolutely. Yep. It's not one size fits all. We're all so bio-individual.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing. And I, think that's neat that as well. You had, some health challenges, maybe not as severe as some, but your health challenges is what inspired you to go into doing what you do now. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And, Tina, I wanted to ask you, if, like Stephanie mentioned, a little bit about, what her day-to-day, going into people's homes, helping them read ingredients, what to throw out. And, in a minute, 60 seconds or less, can you give us just a brief description of, what that looks like when in your client sessions?
Yeah, I actually see people right now via Zoom.
Okay.
And what I do is I have all these charts that I use to identify imbalances. And then once I identify them, I release them down the governing meridian. And I can do it, I can surrogate it. Because it's energy medicine, we can do everything remotely. So that's what I do. But then I also work with my spirit guides to channel frequencies their way, or to knock out genes, if not of people, but sometimes not really, but knock out sequences or something like that. And make single nucleotide mutations, those changes, let's just say. So that's what I do as an energy practitioner. Yeah. And the patches are different, of course, but yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
I should say I also make recommendations about, for example, if people need to make their homes safer, or, they have things that they need to add for better sleep or for their diet. I mean, all of this it's not just energy medicine. I actually do make recommendations about, diet, but also we address, sometimes my remedies have essential oils or crystals. I go more of the energetic realm, and because I'm not really supposed to go into supplements and things like that. But I'm also a big fan of probiotics, and so I try to get people on probiotics, and specifically I'll just use applied kinesiology to help figure out what kind of probiotics they need as well. So
Gotcha. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing
Mhm.
that. And Dr. Fell, same question for you. I know that you do the Zoom, or not Zoom, the telemedicine, whether you use Zoom or another platform, the telemedicine, but you also do in-person
I
visits.
do.
Want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I do. And I prefer, I mean, for most chronic things, to see somebody in person, to form a relationship with that person. It makes it less prescriptive, right? Do this, don't do that, do this, don't do that. Is you form a relationship with them. Sometimes you are really telling them to do and not do something, but it's done out of a relationship, as opposed to somebody who really doesn't even know you. And they're just trying to get through that's why my first office calls, my first visits are 90 minutes, or I set aside 90 minutes. They don't always take that long. But that way there's time to unpack and do a physical exam, and do the other things you do as a physician, or even do a blood draw or whatever might be done that we do in office. And then after I know them and I've seen them, and we've gone through some stuff, it's a lot easier to do telehealth. And I mean, sometimes a lot of my patients, I do a membership model as well as a cash-based model, and they can just text me something, right? And because I know them, and have spent enough time going into their full history, that it makes it a lot easier. I also do consulting for people in other states where I'm not licensed, using a different service that I do for that, to give people some guidance and help them understand what's going on in their body, and what medication choices that they can discuss with their doctor locally, and what herbs and supplements might be beneficial for them, as well as lifestyle related changes. And I think most of it, I mean, all of it involves a fair amount of health psychology, right? To figure out what's motivating our behavior, Why are we being driven to do this? And just helping people get in touch with their values. What do they really value? And are they living in accordance with those values and making conscious decisions, even if they're not the healthy decision, but consciously making that decision. I'm going to choose the thing I know isn't really good for my health right now. And that's okay. Don't condemn yourself, or I definitely won't condemn you for it. But to consciously make that choice. And the more we do that consciously, the less negative choices or less healthy choices we tend to make, because we're making a conscious decision and we're remembering a lot more of I had a lot of unhealthy things earlier that I wasn't registering, and with my goals, I don't want to be on medication. I have to make these healthier choices. But finding one of the principles in naturopathic medicine is removing the obstacles to cure. And whether that obstacle is knowledge, or whether that obstacle is an emotional connection to something, or if it's a lack of access to it, trying to find a way to remove that obstacle to get what the body needs in order to heal.
I love it. Sorry, did someone else say something?
No, it sounded like an echo from on
Okay.
your end, but you're
Gotcha.
good.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, Dr. Fell. And
You're
Stephanie, I know you, kind of briefly touched over what your client sessions look like, but is there anything you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, they're all individual. It depends on what the person's goals are, what they need help with in the moment, and we shift around to all different kinds of things. So
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
really hard to make a specific
Yeah,
answer for this. Yeah.
absolutely. So what would you say is your ideal client? What would that look like?
Someone who has realized they have choices in their healthcare. They may not know what all those choices are or how to decide on the best ones for them, but they've been trying things or having trouble sticking to their goals. But they're ready to make those conscious choices that Dr. Fell mentioned. They're ready to
Ready
put the effort in and make conscious choices and start becoming aware of themselves and start looking at their life and looking at what they can change. And
Amazing. Yeah. Ready to be proactive and
those are my people.
yeah, exactly. And Tina, what about you? What does your ideal client look like?
Well, I have a few categories of ideal clients. One is people who are just frustrated that they aren't getting answers. I love helping, bridge that gap. My passion is actually looking at root causes to what's going on in the black box of the body. So understanding the mechanism to how that translates to symptoms. And sometimes I can tell that whole story by combining, a combination of what's known in Western medicine, but also Chinese medicine. And I can, explain things in a way and then get mechanisms like, for example, biochemistry and so forth. So I really enjoy doing that. And so my ideal clients are people that just don't understand, want to get at the root of what's going on. But also I'm, particularly interested, in people who are just like, I have a difficult issue and nobody seems to know how to address it. But also, a lot of my ideal clients are women age 40 and up, and they, things are not working as well. And this is what I can help really make a difference for them with the patches. So, but yeah, and I'm especially interested in the brain. So anybody with neurodegenerative issues or autoimmune, I have some really powerful techniques for that. And make real differences for that, as well as people with a lot of trauma. The energy medicine is just the easiest way to address trauma, and we address inherited trauma too, and it can actually affect your ancestors, which is really amazing. So it goes down the family line. So there's a lot of different things that I can help people with. I've been through extreme environmental sensitivity, and so I can really relate to that population as well. As well as epilepsy, all kinds of things. So migraines, all kinds of stuff. So
Okay. Good to know. I will keep that in mind.
Thank you. And cats that need
cats.
delicious relationships.
Okay. Awesome. I love it. Thank you, Tina.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And Dr. Fell, what does your ideal client look like?
I love it when people are ready for change and they're like, I'm willing to do something different and already have that realization that what I've been doing has brought me to the point where I'm at right now. That's ideal. But I also love to see the really challenging ones, the, the, the issues that medical science doesn't do well with, a lot of the autoimmune conditions, and things along those lines. I like a difficult diagnostic workup. I've been able to identify a few really rare but very verifiable with certain tests genetic diseases that have gone untreated because they really are the zebras out there, so to speak, as they say in the medical world. You hear hooves, you should think horses, but occasionally there's a zebra. Not in Washington, but but occasionally there's a zebra, and finding those and coming up with a diagnosis and a treatment plan for these rare genetic type conditions is very rewarding. It's a lot of work. It takes a lot of time, a lot of research, a lot of contemplating, a lot of evaluating tests and looking at them under various lights, in context. So yeah, I enjoy that. I do enjoy those difficult to diagnose, difficult to treat. But I ultimately, for the lifestyle related things, which is the majority of what people facing, if they come already with, I'm willing to change. I'm willing to contemplate changing and take those first steps. I have never had somebody regret going down that path once they've gone down it. They may have fallen off it at some point later on, but they didn't regret going down that path.
Yeah.
And so that's really what I enjoy the most, is seeing people recover from the chronic common conditions that are plaguing us. And I hear all the time somebody's cousin or uncle or somebody is in the hospital with a heart attack or stroke or has dementia. Recovering from dementia can be a little more difficult, but preventing it is very, 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 very possible. So I love the idea of preventative medicine.
For sure. For sure. What do they say? Ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I am completely in agreement with that. And, it's kind of where our healthcare has become more sick care rather than, like what you're doing. I feel like obviously, there's a certain amount of sick care in there, but, the prevention is the healthcare. If you can prevent going down the sick route, then you can.
Yeah, I see all sorts of kids stuff, earaches and, acute things that kids will happen. Somebody comes in, they think they fractured their wrist. I see anything that comes through the door.
Yeah.
So yeah, but what I enjoy the most, my ideal is someone's like, I want transformation and I would love for you to be a part of it.
Yeah, for sure. It sounds like for all of you, that's the most rewarding, is those who are ready and willing to make a change and put in the hard work to do so. Because it is work. It is, it's not always easy to, it's a lot easier to just say, hey, give me a magic pill than have to make changes. So thank you all for being willing to, walk people through those changes in their lives. Martha, what say you to all of this?
I have been so in tune and listening to every single one of you. And by the way, my ring light completely turned off, died of battery. So I was like, what's going on here? But no, I've just been listening, and I'm always reminded. I love, Alyssa, what you said, from pain to purpose. I don't think I've ever heard you say that. And it completely, just ties into why we bring incredible people like the three of you here, why this is a passion and mission of Alyssa's to not only, share her mission and what she's doing with her community and her clients and her just her people, but also giving a platform for incredible people like you, because there's so much more other than what she's doing. And I think that this has just been such this is why I loved it. This is why I was so excited in the beginning. I was like, yes, we're back. Like, I get to meet so many and listen to so many incredible people again, because just reminded of the possibilities and the options and the choices, the power of choice. I think that lands for me every time. Thank you, Stephanie. Just knowing that there are choices out there is beautiful and a great reminder. And I think about my family, I think about my community, I think about the people in my life who, are going through struggles and challenges, and just a reminder that there's choice and option out there, I think is a beautiful reminder. So thank you all for that.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. So I actually would love, before we end the show in 30 seconds or less, if someone were to ask you, hey, Tina, I was invited to the On Purpose show. What, I saw that you were in it. What are your thoughts? What would you share? 30 seconds or less, please.
I would say do it. It's a great way to meet other practitioners and talk about, just open your mind up to what else is out there. So I really enjoyed it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Tina. Stephanie, let's say someone's like, Stephanie, what is this about? Should I join? Should I not? What would you say?
Oh yeah, definitely do it. This is my second time, and meeting all kinds of people that I can refer clients to is amazing. And for regular lay people who get to see this, they get to learn what healthcare options there are in the natural healthcare community, and find what they resonate with, and get to meet us and see who they resonate with. It's amazing.
Absolutely.
Incredible. Thank you for that share. And Dr. David Fell, what say you? What would be a share for anyone out there?
Yeah, it's inspiring to hear other people's purpose, right? To share your own is always fun and encouraging. To have people embrace that and celebrate what you're doing is fun, but to hear and see what other people are doing is it's inspiring. It motivates me to continue on, and because it can be discouraging out there from time to time, but I love from the title of it, On Purpose. There's a purpose to all of this, and finding that purpose in whatever it is super important, and this is very helpful. I loved it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you all for being here. And before I finish and tie it all off, Alyssa, is there anything you would like to share? Any comments?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, how can people best reach you? We will be putting your info below this recording, but just for those that might be listening, can you give your, whether it's your social media or your, what's the best way that you prefer people to contact you?
Let's start with Stephanie.
Probably the easiest would be through the website, which is healthylifepioneer.com. And then my email is on there, and yeah.
Perfect.
Beautiful. Thank you. Dr. Fell.
ReviveFamilyMedicine.com. ReviveFamilyMedicine.com is probably the best way to get a hold of me. And whether even if someone's in another state, they can get a hold of me that way, and then I can just move them over to the other platform.
Perfect.
Awesome. And Tina.
Yeah, the easiest way to reach me is at my website, tryholisticbrainhealth.com, and there's a contact section that has everything you need to do to find me. So thank you.
Wonderful.
Beautiful. Awesome. So thank you again, everyone, for being here. The three of you, Alyssa, anyone who's listening, please make sure to check the recording. It's live. And also, if you want to see any previous episodes, we have our YouTube channel up. It is the On Purpose Show, if you want to go check that out. And without further ado, I think we're pretty good. This is amazing. I'm so excited. Episode 7. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
I enjoyed seeing you all. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.